everybody. This is Dave Vernon from Proverbs 7 Ministries. I'm the recovery pastor at New Life Assembly of God in Barnett, Missouri. With me today is Charlie Clayton. We are broadcasting on Gospel Hour Radio Network and the Rackman Christian Radio Network. If you'd like to contact us, you can email me at proverbs7ministries@gmail.com. That's Proverbs, the number 7 ministries@gmail.com.
Good evening.
So what are we going to talk about, Charlie?
How did I know you were going to say that? I said, what do you want to talk about later? I don't know. We'll figure something out. I've got one for you. How about the truth?
Truth will set you free.
That's exactly what I thought of when I walked in that door. What is the truth?
Jesus.
We know that as Christians, He is
Gospel.
the truth. The gospel's the truth. We know because we have the writings. It was a verbal talk that they passed down, yet it came from God's hand. We have original manuscripts. We have scripts that they found in caves, in what they Qumran scrolls they found. I don't know the date or the year, but we know this because they've compared it to other scriptures.
Yeah, the Bible stands on its own. It out of all the history there is out there, there is one thing that has always held its own, and that is the Bible.
Absolutely.
People have tried to discredit it. Scientists have tried to say, no, it didn't happen this way, but it all falls back to the Bible being the truth.
Yeah, and you said Jesus is the truth, the way, the truth, and the life.
Yes.
And I watched this show the other night, History Channel, and they were talking about religion. They did, one of the shows was about where the cross was at, where they found the cross, and talked about Gethsemane, and they talked about places that we talk about, we read about in the Bible.
Right.
They went over there and they found these places.
Yeah. I've actually got a archaeological study Bible.
Do you?
That is just awesome because it uses archaeological facts to back up what is written in the Bible.
And we talk about this. You give me a hard time about being a little bit older.
A lot older.
Okay. When I was growing up in school.
While we're talking about truth here.
Okay, thank you, Lord. When I was growing up, we've established, okay, we'll go back a time frame, early 70s. Late 60s, early 70s, I was in grade school.
And I was in diapers.
Okay. I knew we could get some kind of humor out of this. All we had then were books that the schools had purchased, and many of those were in order, some 20 years, 10 years prior to that.
Right.
So we're talking maybe the 40s and the 50s. And we heard stories and we read stories about gentlemen like Abraham Lincoln.
Right.
About Teddy Roosevelt. About
the history of our leaders, the history of people that were important, Edison's.
Yes,
Pattons,
military leaders, religious leaders.
Yeah.
And our country is founded on the truth.
Yes.
We have, people say now, religious freedom. Maybe so, maybe not so much anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's been taken out of schools.
If you ever want to see a good documentary type show about how America was established, Monumental is very good.
Monumental.
Right, it is.
Okay.
It is about why the Puritans came over from England, what was going on over there, the hardships that they had, why some of them went back, why
they were fighting.
Yeah, and how we got established one nation under God.
Absolutely. And that's in something that we've had when we were growing up is we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, that was every day in grade school. We said the Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely.
There was a lot more patriotism.
Yeah.
Back when we were growing up, because we were closer to wars.
Wasn't heard of to sit down when somebody stood and held their hand over their heart and said, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yeah, and we were, we were just coming out of Vietnam.
Yep.
And we as a nation were beat down that
Yes, we were.
And so we had to cling to our patriotism. And then when I was growing up, then we went into the Afghanistans and the Middle Eastern wars, and somewhere along that line, I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of patriots out there.
Sure.
But
it's
gotten lost in our school systems.
Yeah, and I'm first of all, I believe you are too, I'm pro-military.
Right.
I'm pro-protect our country, protect our rights, protect what we stand for. It's become what you take a knee for and what you stand for. Our founding fathers in America. They were not everybody, but a lot of them were men of God, and our freedom was put in place because of what those men believed. And men and women both. Yes. Now, again, back to the truth. What's happened is America has kind of watered it down.
Yep. It goes back to something we were talking about a few weeks ago, fear of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
The lack of fear of God, seeing God move. Now we've got a meteorologist that tells us, oh, it's a volcano eruption. Back in biblical times, it was a Sodom and Gomorrah that wipes out a whole city, and people knew that it was God that did that.
Yes,
now because we're looking for an explanation. Well, that can't be God. That has to be because this plate shifted. Well, who made the plates?
God, the original
the plates?
Yes, and that's what I say. And so the show I was watching last night, that's what brought it to my mind about the truth. This show was about other religions, and I'm not even going to justify it by saying it because somebody will get mad and they'll say, you're talking about what I believe.
Right.
But what I'm talking about is, for years, people have said Christianity is like a fairy tale.
Yep.
But everything that we have in a time frame. We have it right back to when Jesus lived and he died and he rose from the grave, and it's all in the scriptures.
Yes.
It's all in the Bible. That's what we say. It's our history book. It's his story. We know the truth when we hear it. So we try to share it with others. There's other beliefs where there are millions of people that believe in these other deities, as we were talking earlier, other gods. Why would you put your faith in a stack of rocks that some people believe is a god that can't move itself? It can't go from place to place. It can't protect you. It can't help you. It can't stand up for you.
Right.
Yeah, we try to lead people in the right direction, to say, call on God, ask him.
Yeah.
See if he's real, because we know he is.
See if that fire comes down.
That's right.
And what happens in your life.
That's right.
Which leads us to that scripture that we were talking about in the kitchen earlier today. It's in 1 Kings.
Prophets of Baal.
1 Kings 18, and we were talking about Elijah and prophets of Baal.
Right.
And 1 Kings 18, verse 25 says, Now Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, Choose one bull for yourselves, and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God. Put no fire under it. So they took the bull which was given them, and they prepared it, and called on the name of Baal from morning until evening, until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, no one answered. Then they leaped about their altar which they had made. And then in verse 27, this is what we were talking about. It says, And so it was at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, Cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is meditating, or he is busy, or he is on a journey, or perhaps he is sleeping and must be awakened. We were discussing this about Baal being just a made-up god, basically, and how a lot of some other religions out there, some of the addiction programs, they want you to put your life into the hands of something that is man-made.
It's a program.
Yeah.
It's a program.
And so this being Baal, they were praying to him, and two of the translations, the ESV and the NLT, actually say, what is he on the toilet?
That was one of the versions that I'd heard. And I thought, so what he's saying is, hey, let's go. Come on. Yeah. Your God's here. Call on him. Don't put any fire on it. Yeah. Let's call on
your God like this fire.
And then that's what happened.
Right. Nothing happened.
To the prophets of Baal called on their God all day and night, whatever it said. And nothing happened.
And then Elijah calls on God. And first he calls their people over and says, hey, here's my altar.
Soak it down
with water until it's overflowing.
Absolutely.
Overflowing
with water. The firewood was wet.
Yeah. And
God sent fire down and it consumed it.
Yes.
And here you go. Had they not believed in the truth, that would have been a different story.
Exactly.
But
one thing that did catch my eye when I was reading this earlier, Elijah never went over to their altar. He never went over there with them.
They came to his.
He stood at his altar,
right.
And he mocked him.
Yeah. It was a call out.
Yeah, he's saying, okay, I know your God isn't real.
I know who the one true God is. So here you go again.
Exactly.
A God that
I will put my God against your God any day of the week.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do in our addictions. I was just talking to a man here on the campground earlier. He stopped me, and he was talking about a relative of his that is a little bit younger than me, struggling went from alcohol to drugs.
Yeah.
Been in and out of jails and is really having a hard time.
Lord help him.
Working in the strip clubs.
Yep.
And I was telling him his God.
Yeah.
Is that environment.
Yeah, it is.
That is what he looks to for fulfillment. And until he decides that I don't want to do this anymore, there's nothing we can do other than pray and set up boundaries with helping them. And that's the hard part.
Yeah,
it's family.
It's hard. We talk because I'm not really new at being a Christian or being a witness. As we grow, I don't know that our feelings change, but I realize more now God's grace and His mercy, especially even after watching a movie that just came out.
Yeah.
Incredible movie.
The movie he's talking about is I Can Only Imagine.
God's grace and His mercy are so awesome to take somebody out of total darkness, out of that situation, into His marvelous light. We sing the songs about it. And that whole movie was written about one song.
Yeah.
But yet what that young man went through, basically abuse and torture and the things that he went through. Yep. I grew up a lot, not similarities. My dad never abused me, so I don't know that. I don't know what that's about.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that happen in our lives.
Yeah.
And when we can look back, and you can look back and somebody says, I believe that was God's grace on your life.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the thing about it is, you were one of those people, just like I was, that people said, well, he'll never change.
I was skeptic. They were skeptic about it.
Yeah. So when people tell me that about one of their loved ones,
oh yeah,
when they're saying
they'll never change.
They'll never change.
You don't know.
You don't know that.
You don't
like
know
I
that.
do.
Yep.
Well, guess what? I had a dad.
Yep.
Still have a dad that prayed for me for 25 years.
Praise God.
And that prayer is what worked. It wasn't what he was saying to me. It wasn't what people around me were saying to me. It was that supernatural change that comes through just through the power of Jesus Christ. And so that's what separates our addiction programs from the world addiction programs.
Yeah.
We've got a supernatural power that we call on, just like Elijah did.
Yep, absolutely.
Bring that fire down, Jesus. Show me the proof. Take this addiction away from me.
Give me the authority. Give me the power to speak in Jesus' name, to call out that sickness, to call sin what it is, and let me live that life that you want me to live.
Yes. But we also have to help the changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't.
Yeah, that's us. That's our part. That's the part of it.
There's a saying in AA about you can't lock yourself inside the closet and pray about a hot dog and wait for a hot dog to come through the keyhole.
It's like, yes.
No, but you can lock yourself in a closet and pray for a hot dog, and somebody will open that door and hand it to you.
Yeah, the scripture says the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So we can sit there.
Translation says it's powerful and effective.
Yes, it is. I know that's mine's the NIV, one of the ones version. And a pastor that I had 25 years ago, I learned that from.
Yeah.
When we were going through some of the illness and the medical issues that we had with our kids, pastor said, lay your hands on them and pray. Take a little of this oil and put it on this cloth and rub that on them. Now, it's not the oil. It's not the cloth.
No.
It's not.
It's the anointment of it.
And bleeding in your heart.
Yes.
That's what this is. That's what this is about.
And this is one of these areas that a lot of people struggle with. I personally struggle with. I know God can heal.
Sure.
100%.
Sure.
I have no doubt that the creator of the universe that can blow stars into existence
Absolutely.
can heal anything he wants. Where my problem is, I have problems believing in healing for me.
For praying for myself.
Yes. I can pray for you all day long
I'm the same
and
way.
believe that shoulder that is going to have surgery in a couple weeks.
It's gonna be great.
It is going to be better than it was before. But now, me personally, when it comes to me praying about my knees hurting every time I stand up,
you probably don't pray every day, do you?
No, I don't. I blow it off. Well, it's part of getting old. Yeah, and using those kind of excuses.
It is.
So it comes down to back to Jesus saying, if you have the faith of a mustard seed.
Yep.
I don't have the faith of a mustard seed. I wish I did. I believe that people can look at me and think that I have a lot of faith because I can believe in you a whole lot, but they don't see the inner me. And that's where I believe that the Bible, when Jesus was talking about that, is he was talking about our weakness.
Being made strong in him.
Right. We are so weak.
Yeah.
So when we depend on him,
that's when he can use me the most.
Yes.
Is when I'm at my weakest.
Yes. And I mean, we both got to that weak point in our lives, and now we're sitting here doing a radio program.
You couldn't have convinced me of this 25 years ago.
You couldn't have convinced me of this 2 years ago that I'd be sitting here with you doing this. Seriously.
I know. And you see this is, and if we could go out, and I've thought about this many times, if we could go out and have a journey around the world, talk to people, not talking about other religions, I'm not talking about other denominations, other faiths, I'm talking about Christians, born again Christians, believe that Jesus can heal. And all the time, all the people, you could go around and write their names and write the date that God helped them walk again, gave them their eyesight, I know this is like you said, I don't know, sometimes I don't understand why.
Right.
My brother died a year ago, my mom died 12 years ago, my dad died 10 years ago.
I know why that happened.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to die.
We're all going to die, and we don't, but you see.
And it's not up to us when it happens.
And even yet they were Christians. And why does it, because everybody does this, we understand it. But why is it some little baby doesn't get to that opportunity to live? We don't know. We're not God.
Right.
Pastor said, you're not God, you never will be. Just remember that. Okay. That's one thing I do understand. But yet, my shoulder, I don't pray for me like I should. Yep. I say, Lord, when it hurts, I say, Lord, please help me. I need a touch from you. And I've been praising him because I had surgery on my shoulders and I can do great. I messed up. I pulled a weed eater cord and that shoulder's bad. And the doctor said, he said it could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Probably. There was something set in motion that we don't even know about.
Yeah, it could have been 20 things that
you
did.
He said, I said, you're a praying man? Yep, sure am. I said, I believe that God will use him to touch my shoulder. We talk about these kinds of things, and that's why we do what we do. We go to jail to share with these guys.
Right.
When the guys in jail lay hands on you and you get 8 or 10 of them to pray for you, there's power in that.
There is, because they're coming as a child.
They're believing.
They're believing as a child. When I go to Mexico on these mission trips, the people there come up to us to pray for them. That they will bring people that are blind up to us to pray for them because they believe that it's going to happen.
God's going to touch them. That's right.
That miracle is going to happen.
That's right.
And so when you experience that touch of God, I don't know. I guess it's Satan or just the world in general, the fallen world, that causes us to kind of put it on the back burner a little bit.
To doubt?
And to not necessarily doubt, but just like me and alcohol, I don't crave alcohol anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think about it. I thank God every time I do think about it. If I see a beer commercial, I thank him right then.
Yep.
But I don't have that craving, so my prayer is not going through my head all the time like it was when I was a fresh new Christian.
The miracle's still there.
The miracle is there, but I've had other miracles in the meantime.
Sure.
And so I don't want to say it lost importance, but it's just not, it's not like it was when it was new.
In a chapter of our lives, it's one of the beginning chapters.
Yeah.
And then as we go along, the page turns and the chapters change or added to. And, that's what somebody explained to me a long time ago. Like, I thought, boy, I wish I could go back and change that chapter.
Right.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. It's like, there's some things it just doesn't.
Right. Because if you take that page out, then
you're taking a part of your story.
it's not reading right.
Yeah.
It doesn't read right.
Yeah.
So
It'd be like singing a song and
now we
one of the
can
verses.
look and see all the things that we did in life. Yeah, there's things, like you said, we would like to change.
Sure.
But
Sure.
if we change those things, we wouldn't be sitting here doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We'd be doing something different. And,
Yeah.
and because everything that we've done has got us to this point.
My brother, my younger brother, I referenced to him 15 years ago. He'd call me up late at night. He'd say, "What's up?" I'd say, "What do most people do at 2 o'clock in the morning?"
Yeah. Either drunk or
There you
sleeping,
go.
one of the two.
Same thing my dad said. What do most people think about at 1 o'clock in the morning? I said, and I understand that. I didn't get frustrated or mad with him. I'd say, "I love you. I hope you're doing okay." We talked for a minute, and then we'll fast forward till 2016. He'd call me up. He'd say, "What's the word?" I'd say, "The word's Jesus, man."
Yeah.
A year ago, called him up, said, "What's going on? What's the word, Jim?" He'd say, "Jesus is the word, man. It's the way. He's the way." It's like, so there you go. Now if I hadn't shared the truth with him.
That is the supernatural change.
I know it is. It's
it
awesome.
wasn't you.
No, it's not me. It's what God.
It wasn't the people around him.
Yeah.
It was
God's
perfect timing.
And have you ever heard the analogy of a baby chicken inside of an egg? How it works from the inside out? It's trying so hard to get out of that shell that it pecks at that shell and breaks little pieces, and all of a sudden it pops through. I hadn't thought about that for a long time, but it's like when we're born again, we're coming out of that shell. We're so excited about it. All we can think about is what God's done for us.
Yep.
I shared that with a guy, and that shell is so fragile, but it's got to come from the inside out. You don't break that bird out from the outside,
right?
Because when it's not time,
it'll kill it.
It doesn't work.
Yep.
And I know it seems like a silly analogy or likeness, but it's the same with Jesus. When that time is right, when they've heard the truth at the right time.
In the end, I believe there are plenty of right times in our life.
Yep, absolutely.
There are multiples. And God will just take it and run with it when we give over.
Absolutely.
But some of us, it happens early on.
Yeah.
Some of us go through a little bit of turmoil. Some of us go through a whole lot of stuff. And it just...
Sometimes we don't know. We don't know when that time is. That one person might wait till they're 80 years old to be a Christian.
So important.
Yeah, it is.
God just lay a little more grace on him for just one more day here, one more day.
And where sin is, grace abounds much more.
Yeah.
We know that. God's grace is, we say, it's sufficient for me. The times that we were going somewhere on a trip, and for some reason our kids spilled a soda in the back seat, and we had to stop on the side of the road and clean up, wipe it, and we got 3 miles down the road and the car was rolled over. Don't know. Sometimes that's what it takes to bring us to reality. Say, hey, maybe there's something more supernatural here than what we realize.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how many people actually have fallen out of planes and hit the ground and it didn't kill them? And they lived to tell the story about it. And then they said, "I'm a believer." When somebody tells me in jail, or they tell you in jail, heard it last week again, the guy said, 15 years ago, he was a kid, he's 30 years old in jail now, he said he'd gotten away from God. I said, you know what, if God's got a call on you, man, don't run from him, because you can't outrun him. Exactly. He's going to be, where you go, he's going to be right there. Every time you turn around, he's going to be looking. And he said, I saw at a revival, he said, we saw a lady walk with a leg that was 6 inches too short. She came to the altar to get prayed. He said, physically we watched her leg grow 6 inches, and she walked away from the altar. And this kid had tears in his eyes. The truth.
Yes.
Now some people, and the devil says, "Oh, you share that, people are going to say you're skeptic, you're sarcastic, you're."
Let me see it myself.
But see, sometimes is the truth hurtful? I don't think it really is if we're sharing it in God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some people say love is hurtful. Love can hurt.
No.
I don't.
God is love.
Love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't guess right. Love doesn't keep track wrong. Love isn't boastful. It isn't envy. There's so many things that we know love isn't. Yet when we do something wrong, we say, "Well, I love you so much. I had to do that."
What we say love is, and what God.
That's it.
What God has.
Different definition.
Right. What He originally intended it to be.
If somebody says, now I'm going to add a little humor to this, whether you edit it out or not. The wife tries on the dress and she says, how do you like my new dress? And he says, it makes you look fat. That wasn't love.
No.
She says, how do you like my new dress? He says, I love it. She says, do you think it makes me look heavy? Love is patient. Love is kind.
Yes.
Love doesn't keep, you know what? And we're joking. We laugh about it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
We're not talking about if you don't tell somebody the truth that they're going to crash the car. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
And yet sometimes we have to say no with the truth. That's not hurtful. I don't think that's hurtful.
That is true. Looks like that's all we have time for tonight. Glad you could join me again, Charlie.
Me too.
And I'm sure we'll have you back on again.
Look forward to it.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight on Gospel Hour Radio Network and the Rackman Christian Radio Network. God bless y'all. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Amen.
One day